after a surprise appearance in the World Series that ultimately led to a disappointing loss against the Yankees. Don't want to talk about it any more than I already have. It's time to prepare for a new season here. We had a couple of staff members that we needed to re-sign. Third base coach will be Brian Woodson. Gives us some fielding, some durability, and some speed at the cost of just one blocking, which I think Ethan Salas can handle. We have a new farm director here who will give us +3 discipline, +3 power, -3 stamina. That part is unfortunate, but I like the additions we're getting. And I'll take the hit to the stamina to get all these nice, juicy bonuses here. There were some calling for Vance Wilson to be fired. I kind of like that he has 1 year left on his contract. I think it's World Series or bust for this team, probably next year. And so we'll try to bring him back if this team can go the distance next year. If not, we'll probably be looking for a new manager here to maybe make up for some bad managerial mistakes. I don't know how much of it is actually on the manager in this game versus sliders or anything, or just player ratings. So I don't honestly know how much changing managers would actually help us. I really like the +3 durability, and I really like the +3 clutch that we're getting here. So I hope it works out with Wilson and that we can keep him around for the long haul. And here's just a refresher on what else we have. +3 clutch, power, and plate discipline from Cortez. I mean, he's my favorite coach we have. For -3 bunting, always going to take that. Pluses across the board for Boyce Jimenez, and +2 durability and +3 fielding for our first base coach. Furthermore, here in this first period, I have extended a contract offer to Michael Kopech and Smeltzer after some heavy consideration. And I'm actually offering them both to be bullpen. There's a lot of brainstorming as to what we can do with the bullpen here in the offseason. Very limited as to our options on a draft-only franchise, but I think Kopech, we had him kind of just stashed away for most of the postseason until we decided that we weren't going to allow Herb Reyes to pitch anymore. And he had a couple of appearances and pitched well in both of them. So if we can have him back playing in the bullpen, I think he'll be a positive bullpen arm. He wants to be an ace, so we had to give him quite a bit of money for him to be interested in us. And, you know, we were honest with him, told him that you can't technically say bullpen for a starting pitcher, but you can not guarantee him a spot in the rotation. I think it's called depth. If we go here, yeah, it's depth. There's no option to tell somebody they're going to go into the bullpen when they're a starting pitcher, but you can say, hey, you're not going to be in the starting rotation practically. So Smeltzer, same deal. Now he is somebody that we did lean on to pitch, but I just think stamina is getting pretty low. And at age 34, he's already starting to regress a bit. Going to continue to do so. Giving us a lefty arm in the bullpen could be really nice. And I think Michael Kopech is officially a reliever now in the game. I think I started early enough that he was still considered a starter. So I think if we can sign these two, I'll switch their position to relievers. And I think adding these two to the bullpen could be a way to improve it for next year. Of course, they are, unrestricted free agents. They could decide to sign elsewhere. That's why I'm giving them very strong offers. I want these guys back, because if they don't come back to the Rockies, we're pretty much just banking on internal development in our bullpen to improve, with one exception that we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. But we can turn these two starters into positive bullpen arms. That's one way for the bullpen to improve. That was one of our biggest weaknesses in the World Series, and I want it to be better next season. Here's what we are offering for our arbitration and contracts here. Trying to get Chase Dollander back on a 2-year deal. Same for Sterling Thompson and Kyle Brown. Zach Veen, I think I've seen enough over the last 2 years now of sample size to try to go a little bit longer here, offering 5 years for the 28-year-old, getting him into the mid-30s there. Andrew Moore, we are letting go. We're going to have Montgomery and Cerny back as our backup outfielders, which means we're letting Jordan Beck go. We're trying to bring back Lozano and Ramirez, Figueroa for 1 year. That is what we're going with for arbitration. Tender contracts here. We are offering Clemente Herrera a 10-year deal here. Hopefully he takes it. $13.5 million per year. He's absolutely earned it. At 24 years old, this will get him to his mid-30s. And really awesome rookie season from him. Hit .320, had 20+ home runs, and was the postseason MVP for the National League in the year 2029. Was absolutely incredible for us and had so many good clutch moments. He's earned a long-term contract here. Everybody else is trying to bring back on a 1-year deal. The last guy I had trouble with here was Jose Barreto, because I'm still counting on him to be the future ace, but I think because of his struggles in the playoffs, we're just going to keep it to a 1-year deal for now. Hopefully, with another year of improvement, he can have another strong regular season and turn it into a more successful post-season run here. The only guy that we're not bringing back is Jeff Criswell. He's just 31 years old, and I think we have enough good pitchers to not pay $250,000 to him. So, pretty standard stuff. Would like to remind you of this most recent draft class, give you a first look at some of that. Of course, Richie James, 98 potential. How does he factor in to the future of this franchise? I think the good thing is we have a little bit of time to see. I think Kyle Brown was underwhelming, especially as the playoffs, went further along. He didn't quite have the especially World Series that you want from a leadoff hitter. And if you look skill set wise, I think it's a pretty natural succession. Not that I don't like Kyle Brown, it's just that you can't pay everybody. That's the reality. There's going to come a time when we're going to have to let some of our good players go, and could Kyle Brown be one of them? I see it being very tough that we long-term keep both Sterling Thompson and Kyle Brown. Richie James just comes in and probably fills in for whoever we don't end up keeping, and there's even a possibility that both players end up being forced to walk, just because I feel like there's some good candidates to be paid long-term in the outfield. We were offering a 5-year contract and a 10-year contract in our outfield already this season, and although we haven't signed Brian Doe to a big contract yet, he was awesome in the postseason, and he's a strong season next year away from getting a long-term offer as well. And so you just have to figure out your priorities, and right now I think Sterling Thompson and Kyle Brown are starting to get pushed down that priority list just a bit here. Again, not that either player was bad last year. Sterling Thompson, 33 home runs. Kyle Brown, 277 average with 16. Neither of those are bad seasons. The standard is getting to be pretty high here in Colorado. You have guys like Murillo, you have guys like Herrera, you have guys like Neil Dorsey, who want to maximize their windows with the best players we possibly can. Like I said, though, this is not a decision we'll have to make this year or probably even next. Although, to be honest, I think this guy could step in and hit against lefties tomorrow, but does need some more work against righties for sure before he is ready. In addition to him, we did get 2 lefty bullpen arms that I think will factor into this series at some point. Bill Myers could play as soon as this season. League of hits and strikeouts per 9. We're in need of lefty arms, and so he might just get pushed up a little bit just due to our need. Dwyer, more of somebody who's a couple seasons away, but desperately needs some lefty arms. Got a couple in this most recent draft that I'm excited to eventually add to the rotation. For now, though, we got Devin Smeltzer. He has decided to sign, so I am going to make him a relief pitcher. That is going to drop his overall most likely. Yeah, all the way down to his 65. That's insane. I don't know how he's 10 worse as a reliever than he is as a starter. I still trust that even at 65 overall, he's going to have a pretty good reliever season for us. That's kind of crazy, though. But has played above his overall this entire series. He's just going to play above his now super low overall. Kopech did not make his decision in the initial period, so he is technically on the market right now. Take a look at free agency. This is going to be a massive year with a ton of changes across the league. Look how many players above 90 overall. Gotta hope that not a ton of them sign in our division, or maybe you do hope that they'll sign, because it'll just make the division more challenging. So because of how talented this free agent class is, I don't think we'll have a ton of trouble getting Kopech back here on this $8.8 million offer, but we'll just have to see. So guys like Evan Carter, Ellie De La Cruz, Kyle Harrison, Grayson Rodriguez at the top of this free agency class. Very excited to see where they go. The Diamondbacks make another massive move. They were big time spenders last year in free agency, and they've gotten Ellie De La Cruz. So now they've got Corbin Carroll, Ellie De La Cruz, and Gunnar Henderson. That's a pretty wild top of the lineup for them for sure. Grayson Rodriguez here to the Reds. Kyle Harrison going from the Giants to the Padres. So, of the big time free agency signings so far, our division has been pretty active. Luckily, Evan Carter staying out of the division here. He is going to the Cubs. Alex Ling, though, he is a closing pitcher, going to the Padres once more. So far, an active free agency in the division to start. Ryan Jeffers, the catcher, age 32, to the Angels here. Gavin Williams, 91 overall, to a 6-year deal to the Orioles. Yuri Perez here to the Blue Jays here. Garrett Crochet. Braves definitely did not need to get any better, and here they have. Simulating here to the lottery weekend. We've got Jordan Walker to the Blue Jays, Dominic Fletcher to the Phillies, Taj Bradley to the Reds, Jordan Westberg, another talented player, to the Braves for some reason, and very busy day, Saturday the 8th. So let's simulate through here. Hunter Green to the Brewers. Casey Mize to the Dodgers. They make their first big signing. So now our entire division getting involved, except for the Giants so far. They have actually lost a big time pitcher to the Padres. Let's go ahead and simulate the lottery. We will not play a part in it this season. We'll have a very late pick here, but we'll see who goes first. The Cleveland Guardians will have the number 1 pick. We, of course, pick at 29. Matt Wallner here to the Brewers, and now it is time for the Rule 5 draft. Now, I think, unfortunately, we didn't want to learn this, but we had to, that our backup infield maybe needs to be better next year. Saw Levine, I think, and Datras play too much, and unfortunately we do need bodies there. So I'm hoping we can find some Rule 5 pickups here that can help solidify just some depth to the infield. That's really what I want to get here. I'm also interested, is there going to be a good lefty closer here? If Andrew Baker was a lefty, I'd absolutely interested in him. Brett Martin here is a lefty. I think we could be convinced about a Brett Martin here. Andrew Saalfrank, excuse me, also a lefty. A couple of lefties here at the top. This guy's just too low walks per 9. Francisco Perez here, Perez here, very high home runs per 9, but low runs per 9 in clutch. We've got ourselves some options. I'm liking the pretty well-rounded skill set here. Brett Martin also throws decently hard. Although his fastest pitch is 93 miles an hour. What do we have available for us in terms of some backup infielders? Looking for some guys with good position versatility, good fielding. That won't be terrible bats. Something like a Tanner Murray could make sense for us. Good power here from Emmanuel Valdez, and he can play pretty much everywhere. This is the kind of player I think you take in a Rule 5 draft. So, we go with the lefty, or do we go with infielder first? I think there's a better chance that the lefty is taken, so we're going Brett Martin and hoping that third base is going to be available for us here. Who was it? Here's Emmanuel Valdez. Some power. Not a great fielder, but he can kind of play everything. Let's take Valdez here. Rare to get some good power here in the Rule 5 draft, but I'll take it when we can get it. Now, do we also pick up Saalfrank here? I'm kind of just wanting to have some options open. And so we're taking Saalfrank as well. I don't want to go into next year saying I wish we would have done more for our bullpen. I want to feel confident that we did everything that we felt like we could to improve the squad. Montero here, originally on the Rockies. We could add him back. He's got really good clutch. We get somebody with maybe some nice speed. Maybe shortstop will show us that. Not really anything I'm liking speed-wise, unfortunately. Got guys that are better at hitting lefties than righties, but we have a bit too much of that already on the squad. I'm kind of liking the all-around bat here from Montero, so we're gonna have him be our 4th Rule 5 pick. Kind of rare to see this many Rule 5 picks this deep into the franchise, but I felt like we needed to do better in terms of the depth that we have on this team. So We now have a couple of arbitration offers here. But as we see, Brandon Pfaadt, won't see him on opening day anymore. Sean Newell is to Miami. Freddie Fermin is to the Mets. Henry Davis to the Yankees. I hate the Yankees. Now we're in January, and I think it's time that I've been waiting kind of for somebody to get signed here, and I know we're only supposed to do 3 trades here in the franchise, but I think there's a storyline that we just can't ignore. And so I'm making a special exception. I'm breaking the rule here for Robbie Barreto. Vibes for Jose, maybe a little bit down after a rough postseason. Can we increase those vibes by bringing his twin brother? I know technically one's from Kansas, one's from Arkansas, also known as Arkansas to most. But make no mistake, these two are twin brothers. Can we bring them back together? The package I'm offering to do that is Raymond Park and Phil Gorzelski. Ultimately, I'm okay with bending or really breaking the rule because I view Barreto and Gorzelski very similar in terms of quality. I don't think we're getting significantly better with this trade per se. Whereas with our 3 trades, it felt like I was doing that to kind of fix holes that we couldn't fill in the amateur draft. It was really the point of those trades. This one, it kind of just feels like we're getting a lateral move, maybe a slight move up in the bullpen, but really it's for the storyline of being able to add our future ace's twin brother into the bullpen here. I think he'll be an excellent addition for us. And there you go, the Guardians say yes. Robbie Barreto being added to the squad. Noelvi Marte to the Nationals here. Zach Neto to the Astros. Sosa to the Phillies. Keith to the Marlins. Pete Crow Armstrong here to the Athletics. Bryce Miller to the Blue Jays. They've had quite the active offseason here. Definitely have had the most signings here, above 85 overall. Valdez signs with us arbitration. Team he originally negotiated with won, and Martin won his, even though we didn't negotiate either of those, of course. A couple more signings and one more to the Blue Jays. Jeez, how much money did they have? But that's going to wrap up the postseason here. Let's take a look at the highest free agents. Everybody good did end up signing. 79 overall. I mean, Jose Ramirez is probably still solid. Yeah, I feel like that could play for somebody, but you know, definitely not a defender at this point in his career. But we've got, I guess we have to renew these contracts really quick. It's a good thing I noticed this here at the end of the episode. A couple more renewed contracts here. And that's going to wrap up this offseason. Hope you enjoyed us, breaking the rule a little bit just to get another brother here onto the squad. And hope you enjoyed my ideas for trying to help improve our weaknesses. Off-season's really a limited time to do that with this style of series, but I think we took some solid swings. Hopefully a couple of them can hit. We can have a better bullpen. We can have some better depth to our lineup next year in case of injury. That's all I've got for the off-season episode. We'll be back to start a brand new year. And I will see you then. Go Rockies.